Good afternoon. My name is Amari Dixon. This is my final reflection paper on global warming. For my final paper, I chose to write about global warming. I picked this topic because it's one of the biggest issues in the world today. And I wanted to understand it more than just from a scientific perspective. A lot of people know climate change exists, but not everyone agrees on how serious it is or what should we do about it. That made me interested in looking deeper on why people have such different opinions. One thing I learned is that his worldview has a huge impact on how people interpret this issue. Our worldview is shaped by things like our family, education, culture, and experiences. Everyone grows up differently because of that. People can look at the same evidence and still come to different conclusions. Some people focus on the scientific evidence that shows climate change is happening, while others are more concerned about the economic effects of the climate's policies. I realize that understanding someone's worldview helps explain why these disagreements exist. Environmental science helped me explain what global warming is, what causes it, the effects it's having on the planet, like rising temperatures, stronger winds, stronger storms, flooding, and melting glaciers. It also shows how scientists collect evidence to understand climate change and develop possible solutions. The economic lenses look at the financial side of the issue. It explains how climate change affects businesses, governments, farmers, insurance companies, and everyday people. It also shows that while switching to cleaner energy can cost more money, can save much more money in the future by reducing damage from natural disasters and protecting infrastructure. Using both disciplines together made my analysis much stronger. If I only looked at the environmental science perspective, I have understood what climate change is, but not how it impacts the economy. If I have only looked at the economics, I wouldn't fully understand why climate change is becoming in the first place. Combining both perspectives gave me a much more complete understanding of the problem. If I could give advice to an 18-year-old, I would tell them to stay curious and always think critically. Today, a lot of people get their situation from social media, TikTok, and things of that nature, but algorithms usually show us content that we usually agree with, because that's what's important to the fact of the world. Check information, unreliable sources, and be willing to listen to other people's viewpoints, different viewpoints. Being open-minded doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone. It means you're willing to learn before making a decision. After taking this course, I think the biggest value of interdisciplinary thinking is that it helps us solve real world problems more effectively. Most problems aren't just scientific, economic, or political. They're usually a combination of many different factors. Looking at the issues through multiple different lenses, multiple different disciplines, it helps us understand the full picture and makes better decisions. Overall, this course taught me that expanding my worldview makes me a better thinker. Instead of jumping to conclusions like running from social media, or going to unreliable sites, or using like AI to get my information, I seek real sources, scholarly reviewed sources, history channels on YouTube, the news. Even though the news doesn't put out always factual things, they show us what we want to see, but it's still a greater source than TikTok. I learned to consider different perspectives as in basically like the common denominator and the numerator, the right and wrong. You can see both perspectives. If you feel like you may not know what side that is, or what the person really is about, but you can't just judge them because you got to look in their perspective. You don't know what they go through. You don't know what people go through in life. We don't know what people go through in life, so we can't just judge them off our perspective or the way we view it. We got to put ourselves in different perspectives so we can really evaluate what's going on in life and understand that complex problems usually don't have simple solutions. You can't just wake up and say, "Oh, I got 10 tests to do today, but it's a party and I'm gonna go to the party and do 10." No, it doesn't work like that. You have to fix those. You have to fix those complex problems with simple solutions, and that simple solution would be sitting your butt down and doing those tests, doing them 10 assignments before knowing you gotta go to that party. And understand that those are skills that I know will help me not only in college but also my future career.